I bailaid out my sister again, and she blew it all on a luxury vacation. Seriously. Hey Reddit, so I'm Liam, 32, and I think I'm officially the family ATM. My younger sister Fiona is a walking disaster and my parents, they just enable her. It's always been this way, me being the responsible one, cleaning up her messes. I'm so tired of it. It's like they value this fake family harmony over, actual reality. And I'm the one left holding the bag. Literally, I'm starting to think I'm the crazy one. Am I wrong for finally wanting this to stop? You won't believe what happened next. It all started with the eviction notice. Fiona called me, frantic, sobbing about how she was going to be homeless. $2,400, that's what she needed. I had been saving up for some much-needed car repairs. My brakes were grinding, but like an idiot, I caved. I told myself it was the last time. This time would be different. I transferred the money, stressing about my own bills but telling myself it was for family. Family comes first, right? Wrong. A week later, I'm scrolling through Instagram, trying to unwind after a brutal shift, and there it is. Fiona plastered all over my feed at some ridiculously expensive resort in the Maldives. Private bungalows, turquoise water, champagne flutes, the works. With some douchebag I'd never seen before. My stomach dropped, like physically lurched. I felt nauseous. I actually had to run to the bathroom. I was seeing red, the captions. Living my best life, blessed, paradise found. Are you kidding me? Paradise found with MY money. The money that was supposed to keep a roof over her head. The money I needed for MY car. I called her immediately. The phone rang and rang, finally going to voicemail. I texted her screenshots of her Instagram posts with one simple question. What the actual hell? She finally called back, giggling. Giggling, she tried to play it off like it was no big deal that the boyfriend paid for it all. I lost it. I yelled, I cursed. I told her she was a spoiled, selfish brat. She hung up on me. Then my mother called. Not to ask Fiona what the hell was going on, but to tell me I needed to calm down and stop being so hard on Fiona. She said I was making a mountain out of a molehill and that Fiona was going through a lot. Going through a lot? SHE was sipping cocktails on a beach with money that was supposed to prevent her eviction. I wanted to scream. I wanted to break something. I just sat there, phone in hand, feeling completely and utterly alone. Like I was the crazy one. This wasn't just about the money anymore. This was about years of being taken advantage of, years of being the responsible one, years of being invisible. Something inside me snapped. So I finally decided to confront Fiona. I marched right over to her apartment, heart pounding, hands shaking. I rang the doorbell, and after what felt like an eternity, she opened the door. She had this smug look on her face like she knew exactly why I was there. What do you want, Liam? She asked, all fake innocence. $2,400, I said, trying to keep my voice level. That's what I want. The money you stole from me to go on your little vacation. Her face twisted. Stole? I didn't steal anything. You gave me that money. You were happy to help your little sister out, remember? My blood was boiling. Happy, I delayed necessary car repairs to help you avoid eviction, and you spent it on a luxury vacation. You lied to me, Fiona. Oh, get over yourself, Liam, she scoffed. You're always acting like such a martyr, like you're so much better than me. And then she started screaming. Screaming, accusing me of harassing her. Saying I was threatening her. I was so stunned I could barely speak. I just stood there dumbfounded as she slammed the door in my face. I went home, shaking. I couldn't believe what had just happened. I thought maybe, just maybe, if I talked to her face to face, she would understand. Clearly I was wrong, dead wrong. And then the phone started ringing. My mother. Liam, what have you done? Fiona called the police. She said you were threatening her. How could you do this to your own sister? The police. She called the police on me. I tried to explain, to tell my mother what really happened, but she wouldn't listen. Fiona is very upset, Liam. You need to apologize. Apologize? Apologize for what? For calling her out on her lies. For wanting my own money back. Then my aunt called, and my uncle, and my grandparents. All echoing the same sentiment. Fiona is so sensitive, they said. You're being too harsh, they said. Family is everything, they said. Everyone sided with her. They all believed her lies. I felt like I was in some twisted, alternate reality. Like I was the villain in this story and Fiona was the victim. That's when it hit me. This wasn't normal. This wasn't just a sibling squabble. This was a toxic family dynamic, and I was stuck right in the middle of it. I felt sick to my stomach, completely and utterly alone. Trapped. This morning I woke up to 27 missed calls. 27, mostly from my mother, interspersed with calls from various aunts, uncles, and even my second cousin twice removed. My voicemail was full. I listened to one message, a particularly shrill one from my Aunt Carol. Liam. You need to stop this immediately. You're tearing this family apart. Fiona is hysterical. Your grandmother hasn't slept in 2 days. This is all your fault. You kidding me? Hysterical. My grandmother hasn't slept. Because I asked for my own money back. Because I dared to call out Fiona on her lies. The level of delusion is astounding. They've now escalated to weaponizing my grandmother's supposed insomnia against me. It's emotional blackmail on steroids. Then the texts started rolling in. One from my mom simply read, "You're killing me, Liam. Killing her. I'm killing her because her precious little Fiona got caught red-handed. I'm so tired of being the family scapegoat. It's exhausting. It's affecting everything. I can't sleep. I can barely eat. I'm snapping at people at work. I feel this constant knot in my stomach. I'm starting to question my own sanity. Am I really the monster they're making me out to be? But then I remember Fiona, lounging on that beach, sipping champagne. I remember the grinding brakes on my car. I remember the sheer panic I felt when I realized she'd lied. And the anger comes roaring back. No, I'm not the monster, they are. They're creating this drama, this hysteria, to avoid facing the truth. Fiona is a manipulative liar and they're all enabling her. I have to do something. This can't go on. I'm starting to think I need to go full scorched earth. I'm documenting everything. Every phone call, every text, every voicemail. I'm going to expose this whole charade. I don't care if they hate me. I need to protect myself. I need to break free from this toxic web. I'm done being the family ATM. I'm done being silent. So work has been a lot. I'm lucky Mr. Peterson, my boss, is a decent guy. He noticed I was off, kept zoning out, and called me into his office. I hesitated at first, you know. It's family drama, who wants to air that out at work? But the pressure cooker was about to blow, and I just spilled. I started rambling about Fiona, the loan, the Maldives, the police report, the family's insane reaction, the whole 9 yards. I felt like such an idiot babbling about my family problems to my boss. But Mr. Peterson just listened, didn't interrupt, didn't judge. When I finally finished, he was silent for a minute, just staring at me with this shocked expression. Liam, he said, finally, that's incredible. I mean in the worst way possible. Your family is blaming you for this. Hearing him say it out loud, from someone outside the family, it was a game changer. It was like I was finally seeing it clearly for the first time. This wasn't normal. He told me about his own brother, a gambler who drained their parents dry. His family had done the same thing. Guilt tripped him into bailing the brother out, again and again. It's a classic dynamic, he said. The responsible one gets taken advantage of, the family enables the dysfunctional one, and everyone pretends everything's fine. It's not fine, Liam, it's toxic. He told me I wasn't crazy, that I was being manipulated. And then he did something that completely floored me. He offered to let me work from home for a while, to avoid the constant barrage of calls and texts. Focus on your work, Liam, he said. Don't let them drag you down. Then he said something that really stuck with me. You can't control their behavior, but you can control your reaction. You don't owe them anything. You deserve to be treated with respect. I almost cried, right there in his office. Someone finally saw it. Someone finally validated what I'd been feeling all along. It was like this massive weight had been lifted off my shoulders. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't alone. And I knew, right then and there, that things had to change. I had to stand up for myself, even if it meant going against my entire family. I had to break free. This conversation, it changed everything. It gave me the strength I needed to start fighting back. I was finally starting to feel like I could breathe again. Working from home, away from the constant barrage of calls and guilt trips, was exactly what I needed. I was focusing on work, trying to rebuild some semblance of normalcy. Then Fiona showed up. ATM work. I was in the middle of a virtual meeting, presenting some important figures to a new client when the receptionist called. Liam, she said, her voice tight, there's someone here to see you. Fiona. My blood ran cold. How did she even know where I worked? I told the receptionist I couldn't see anyone, that I was in a meeting. I told her that, the receptionist whispered, but she's insistent, and she's making a scene. A scene. Of course she was making a scene. I muted my microphone, heart pounding, and peeked out of my home office window. There she was, on my front porch, screaming at the top of her lungs. Liam, I know you're in there. Come out and face me, you coward. The client on the video call cleared his throat. Everything all right, Liam? He asked, his eyebrows raised. I felt my face burning with shame. This was a nightmare. I quickly ended the call, apologized profusely, and ran to the front door. I flung it open, ready to confront her, but I wasn't prepared for what I saw. Not only was Fiona there, but my mother was there too, along with my Aunt Carol. They were standing on my porch, a united front of Fiona-fueled fury, staring at me with a mixture of disgust and pity, like I was the one who'd done something wrong. "Liam," my mother said, her voice dripping with disappointment, "how could you do this to your sister? She just wants to talk to you." "Talk to me," I yelled, my voice cracking. "She's screaming on my porch, disrupting my work, and you're asking how I could do this to her." "She's the one who lied. She's the one who stole from me." Fiona started crying, crocodile tears streaming down her face. "Liam, please," she sobbed. "I just need you to understand. I'm going through a hard time." "A hard time?" I laughed, a harsh, bitter sound. "You're going through a hard time. I'm going through a hard time. You took my money, lied to me, called the police on me, turned my entire family against me, and now you're showing up at my work making a scene. And you're going through a hard time." My Aunt Carol stepped forward, her face contorted with rage. "Don't you talk to your sister that way," she shrieked. "She's family." That's when it happened. Something inside me snapped. It was like this white-hot rage washed over me, erasing all the guilt, all the self-doubt, all the years of being the responsible one, the good son, the silent victim. I was done. "Family," I roared. "This is what you call family, enabling a liar, attacking the one person who's actually telling the truth? You're all delusional." I pointed at Fiona. "You," I said, my voice shaking with fury, "owe me $2,400. And you," I turned to my mother and aunt, "you can stop with the guilt trips. I'm not the problem here, she is." I slammed the door in their faces, the sound echoing through the house. My hands were trembling, my heart racing. But for the first time in a long time, I felt a sense of power. I had finally spoken my truth. I had finally stood up for myself. And in that moment, I knew exactly what I needed to do next. I went back to my computer, opened a new document, and started typing. I was going to expose everything. The lies, the manipulation, the enabling. I was going to fight back. And I wasn't going to stop until I got justice. This was war. Okay, Reddit, buckle up, because I'm about to go full scorched earth on this dumpster fire of a family. After that nuclear meltdown on my porch, I knew playing nice wasn't an option. It was time for a full-scale assault. This isn't just about the $2,400 anymore, it's about years of being the family punching bag. First, I went full on Sherlock Holmes. I gathered every single piece of evidence I could find. Bank statements showing the transfer. Screenshots of Fiona's Maldives Instagram posts. The texts where she begged for the money, claiming eviction. I even found a crumpled handwritten IOU from her for a previous loan, $500 for car trouble, that mysteriously turned into a new tattoo. Jackpot. I scanned everything, multiple copies, backed it up to the cloud, the WRKS. Paranoia, maybe. But in this family, you gotta cover your bases. Then I called a lawyer, a real, actual lawyer, explained the whole sordid saga. He recommended small claims court. Boom. Lawsuit filed. Served. Checkmate, the look on Fiona's face when she received those papers. Priceless. I knew confronting them directly wouldn't work. They'd just gaslight me, deny, deflect, the usual routine, so I needed a neutral playing field. And a referee, my Aunt Susan. She's the only one in the family with a shred of common sense. I called her, laid out the entire situation, the evidence, the lawsuit, everything. She was shocked. Appalled. And crucially on my side. She agreed to orchestrate a family Zoom call. A virtual intervention, if you will. She even started discreetly contacting other family members who'd been loaned money by Fiona over the years. Turns out, I wasn't the only ATM in the family. This was getting good. My mental preparation. I visualized the scenario, practiced what I was going to say. I knew they'd come at me with everything they had: guilt, manipulation, tears. I prepared myself for the onslaught. I imagined a force field around me, deflecting their toxic energy. I repeated Mr. Peterson's words like a mantra. You can't control their behavior, but you can control your reaction. I was ready. This wasn't just about the money. This was about taking back my life. This was about finally breaking free. This was about justice. So the Zoom call. Picture this, me steely-eyed and armed with a folder thicker than my grandmother's Christmas fruitcake, sitting in my home office. Across the digital divide. My parents, Fiona, Aunt Susan, MVP of this whole saga, Aunt Carol, Fiona's attack dog, Uncle Mike, blissfully oblivious to pretty much everything, and a random assortment of cousins and second cousins once removed who'd apparently also been touched by Fiona's financial needs. The tension was thicker than Aunt Carol's holiday gravy. Aunt Susan, bless her heart, started the call. Okay, everyone, she said, her voice calm but firm. Liam has brought some serious concerns to light, and I think it's important we address them as a family. My mother immediately launched into her usual defense. Liam, this is ridiculous, dragging the whole family into this. Can't you just let it go? Let it go, I said, my voice dangerously even. Let what go, Mom? The fact that Fiona took $2,400 from me under false pretenses and spent it on a luxury vacation. Is that what you want me to let go? Fiona started whimpering, right on cue. Liam, I told you it wasn't like that. Oh, really? I said, pulling out the printed screenshots of her Instagram posts. Then explain these. Living my best life, huh, pretty sweet life, courtesy of my hard-earned cash. I held the photos up to the camera, making sure everyone got a good look. Silence. You could hear a pin drop. Even Aunt Carol looked stunned. Then Aunt Susan dropped the bomb. Fiona, she said, her voice sharp, it seems Liam isn't the only one you owe money to. Uncle Mike, you mentioned Fiona borrowed money for car repairs last year, correct? Uncle Mike, startled, blinked at the camera. Yeah, $500. She said she'd pay me back. And Cousin Sarah, Aunt Susan continued, you lent Fiona money for medical bills, didn't you? A chorus of voices chimed in. $1,000 for a family emergency, $200 for textbooks, $500 for a broken laptop. The amounts kept climbing. It was like a Fiona's fiscal FCK Up support group had spontaneously formed. My mother's face went white. Fiona was staring at the screen, her mouth agape. The turning point, my mother's confession. In a small, defeated voice, she said, I gave her some money too. I felt guilty about the divorce. I thought it would help. The air was sucked out of the room. The guilt, the enabling, the years of denial, it was all laid bare. Fiona, stripped of her usual support network, started to panic. This is all Liam's fault, she shrieked. He's turning everyone against me. I just looked at her, a wave of exhaustion but also relief washing over me. No, Fiona, I said, my voice calm and steady. This is your fault. You lied, you stole, you manipulated, and now you're facing the consequences. I held up the court documents. I've filed a lawsuit, Fiona. I'm not backing down. I'm done being your ATM. The chat box on the Zoom call exploded. Shock, disbelief. Anger, but directed at Fiona, not me. The power dynamic had shifted. Finally. Later, Fiona texted me, blaming me, of course, but something was different. There was a flicker of fear, respect, I don't know, but I knew I'd won. Not just the $2,400, but something much bigger, my self-respect, my freedom. The fallout continues, obviously. Fiona is scrambling to come up with a repayment plan. She even sent me proof she enrolled in financial counseling, a small victory, I guess. I'm cautiously optimistic, but I'm not dropping the lawsuit until I see real change. I've also opened a separate savings account, one Fiona doesn't know about. New boundaries, people, new boundaries. This whole experience, it's been brutal. But it's also been liberating. I finally stood up for myself. I finally broke free from the toxic cycle. My relationship with my family, yeah, it's probably damaged beyond repair. But maybe, just maybe, there's a chance for something real, something honest. And that Reddit is worth more than all the money in the world. It's been a few months since the Zoom call from hell, and things are different. The immediate aftermath was rough. Fiona went nuclear, predictably. Blamed me for everything, threatened to never speak to me again, the whole 9 yards. My mom waffled between anger and guilt. Aunt Carol continued her role as Fiona's attack dog, and the rest of the family mostly stayed silent, probably shell-shocked from the whole thing. It was messy. It was painful, but I held my ground. I didn't back down. Surprisingly, Fiona actually followed through with the repayment plan. Small, consistent payments, and she's sticking to the financial counseling. I'm still side-eyeing everything, but I have to admit I'm cautiously optimistic. The lawsuit is still active, but I'll likely drop it if she keeps up the payments and demonstrates genuine effort. I'm not a monster, just someone who finally learned to protect himself. The biggest change, my relationship with my parents. It's strained, to say the least. We talk, but it's surface level. They still haven't fully acknowledged their role in enabling Fiona, and there's a lot of unresolved hurt. I don't know if we'll ever have the close relationship I always craved, but honestly, I'm okay with that. I've accepted that sometimes you have to choose your own well-being over a dysfunctional family dynamic. Aunt Susan, bless her soul, has been my rock. She checks in regularly, offers support, and reminds me that I did the right thing. Mr. Peterson, too, has been incredibly understanding. He's proof that good bosses exist. Having those two in my corner has made all the difference. I've changed. I'm stronger. I'm more assertive. I'm no longer afraid to speak my truth. I've set clear boundaries with my family and I'm sticking to them. I prioritize my own needs, my own well-being. I've learned that self-preservation isn't selfish, it's essential. This whole experience has been a roller coaster, a crash course in family dysfunction, financial responsibility, and the importance of setting boundaries. It's been messy, painful, and exhausting, but I've come out on the other side stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever to live my life on my own terms. So Reddit, has anyone else dealt with a similar situation? How did you handle it? Any advice for navigating the murky waters of family drama and financial entanglement? I'd love to hear your thoughts.